He was in the courtroom smiling. I certainly hope he doesn't have reason to smile. I certainly hope he's not banking on people being confused about the overwhelming mountain of evidence against him. Because let me tell you, those of us who are clear-eyed on what is and is not admissible as proof, and that's really all we should be concerned with, see all evidence pointing directly to Tyler Robinson. All of it pointing directly to Tyler Robinson. My only question is who may have helped him and who may have known about it prior to his arrest. And I really hope that the prosecution has no problem making that case. Inside the courtroom, multiple law enforcement officers stood along the walls, more than are usually seen in a courtroom. 4 of them wore camouflage fatigues and SWAT gear, reports KUER, local station. Talked about the fight to ban the cameras and so on, the fight over the shackles. And the only issue that Judge Graff ruled on from the bench was clarifying his previous gag order, which restricts people involved in the case from making public statements outside the courtroom. They write, while roughly 3,000 people witnessed the killing of Charlie Kirk, Judge Graff said the only lay people under that gag are witnesses whom the prosecution or defense believes they will call to testify. And so that should excuse most of the people who witnessed Charlie's assassination, though not all. And only they know, only the ones who have been contacted by law enforcement as potential witnesses in the case. You know, if I had been interviewed by law enforcement at this point, whether they said you're going to be a witness or not, if I had been interviewed by them, I would understand myself as under the gag order. And that's to preserve the integrity of the trial. It really doesn't do the prosecution any good to have their witnesses out there talking. I mean, we've seen this. I'm not accusing anybody of having done this, but we've seen this in earlier cases, including OJ, where a critical witness who was going to be able to testify to seeing OJ drive away from Bundy, where Nicole Brown Simpson was murdered. She testified. She was ready to testify to seeing him drive away from the scene of the crime, had sold her story to the media between the crime and the date of trial. And she was rendered utterly useless to the prosecutor. She just looked like she's in it for money. And so the gag order for people who may actually be witnesses at trial does make some sense if you want to protect both the prosecution's right to a fair trial, although the right to a fair trial speaks chiefly to the defense, and to the defendant's right to a fair trial. So if you've been interviewed by law enforcement or have reason to believe you're going to be called to trial, you really shouldn't be speaking to the media, which would encompass some public names who are now in the national debate, who are also under pressure to speak out, but know something in some cases that the rest of us don't know and are not free to fully talk about the events of that day. Please keep that in mind as you assess what's happening in this case. Look, Tyler Robinson did this. It seems very clear to me. My only hope is that I can be there in the room when they flip the switch and take his life. I want him dead. I want the death penalty handed down against him and anyone who helped him. And I will be gleeful on the day it is carried out. I honestly don't know how that squares with my Catholic faith, to be honest. We're not real pro the state killing people or humans taking other humans' lives, whether it's in the womb or in the course of a crime. But we are pro-justice. And the Bible does say an eye for an eye. And there is no deterrence. I'm sorry, the deterrence, I do believe, requires the death penalty in the most heinous of cases. And I do believe it should be reserved for the most heinous of cases. And this is that. This is that. Charlie was shot down in the prime of his life. He had so much yet to offer. He was a loving father of 2. He and Erica adored one another, lived for one another. They had so much yet to do. She wanted 4 children. So did he. He desperately wanted 4 kids. They have 2 and will never have another. Everything he's been cheated out of, everything those children were cheated out of, every happiness Erica has been cheated out of, everything the world, the country, a future president, we all believe, that we've been cheated out of, he deserves to be put to death when he's convicted of this crime, which in my strong legal opinion, he should be. So that's where I am today, being reminded of the depravity of this so-called man. An evil being. I don't want to use the word person. I don't understand this person. I don't understand the guy who shot up the Ascension school in Minneapolis, who was drawing pictures of demons and looked to me to have been possessed by one. I don't understand them. I just want them gone. I don't think the earth suffers when they're eliminated. I want it done legally. Don't get me wrong. I certainly don't want to see him assassinated in prison. I'm fine if that happens to Brian Kohlberger for what it's worth. I don't know. This is my moral code. Is it fucked up? How do you feel about it? Do you share it? Like, I'll pray for forgiveness if forgiveness is in order. But that's where I am today, reminded of the awfulness of what happened.
Ever read the label on a typical bag of chips? It's often a science experiment of seed oils, MSG, artificial dyes, and mystery ingredients. Masa is part of the growing movement to bring back real food. Masa chips contain just 3 ingredients: organic corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed beef tallow. Not only do these chips avoid the bad stuff, they also taste delicious too. Snacking on Masa chips is nothing like eating regular chips. With Masa, you feel satisfied, light, and energetic with no crash and no bloat. And if you love Masa, then you will love Vandy Crisps. Vandy, which is Masa's sister company, makes the most delicious 3-ingredient potato chips too. Ready to give Masa or Vandy a try? Use code MK for 25% off your first order at masachips.com or vandycrisps.com, or simply click the link in the video description or scan the QR code to claim this delicious offer. Don't feel like ordering online? Masa and Vandy are now available nationwide at your local Sprouts supermarket. Stop by and pick a couple of bags up before they're all gone.
Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.